At the second presidential debate this fall, audience member Ken Bone asked the question on every energy state's mind.
What steps will your energy policy take to meet our energy needs, while at the same time remaining environmentally friendly?
And candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton could not be more different when it comes to energy policy. One wants to get government out of the industry.
Any regulation that's outdated, unnecessary, bad for workers, or contrary to the national interest will be scrapped and scrapped completely.
And the other wants to regulate fossil fuels while bolstering renewables.
And we're going to combat climate change with more clean, renewable energy jobs.
Either candidate's energy platform could have real impact on the ground in states like North Dakota, where coal, oil, and gas are kings.
We have 3 seams of coal here, and the first seam of coal is actually pretty much on the level that we're at. We mine about 4.5 million tons a year.
The lignite from this mine feeds the nearby power plant. Coal-burning plants like this one generate 75% of North Dakota's electricity. But one of the most pressing energy issues on the next president's plate could change that. The Clean Power Plan aims to reduce harmful greenhouse gases. It would force North Dakota to cut its carbon emissions 45% by 2030.
Lignite coal is very brittle.
Jason Borer is president of the Lignite Energy Council. He says the Clean Power Plan could cripple North Dakota's coal industry.
The hardest regulation right now for us to meet is the carbon dioxide reduction requirement of the Clean Power Plan. And as a consequence, really the only viable way to reduce carbon dioxide from a coal plant is just to shut it down. And those mines don't have any other customers. So the job loss is really compounded in North Dakota when a power plant shuts down.
North Dakota is one of 24 states that have sued the federal government over the Clean Power Plan. That lawsuit will likely reach the Supreme Court. Congressman Kevin Cramer says the outcome may come down to the next president's pick to fill the vacancy on the bench.
Supreme Court is critical to whether the Clean Power Plan is allowed to go through or not.
North Dakota's oil fields also have much at stake if the Clean Power Plan is implemented. The state is trying to reduce the massive amount of natural gas that is wasted when oil is drilled. Mineral Resources Director Lynn Helms says more pipelines and gas processing facilities are needed to reduce that flaring. And all those require power.
Our concern is that the idling of those coal-fired power plants will make it literally impossible to provide the electric power that's needed for the new gas processing and gathering systems in western North Dakota.
But there's also a possible upside. If the Clean Power Plan is implemented, it would increase demand for natural gas from the Bakken.
The retirement of coal-fired power would be a benefit to natural gas prices and natural gas production and consumption in the state.
The oil industry, however, is looking at the next president to change more than the Clean Power Plan. With crude prices low, companies have cut way back on drilling wells.
This is the heart of the Williston Basin.
Some in the industry, like Ron Ness, hope that Trump could help get business booming again by removing Obama administration regulations targeting fracking and emissions.
On the Trump side, I think you hope for smarter regulations, better business-friendly regulations that understand you got to move forward with your business.
But Don Morrison at the Dakota Resource Council says a Clinton presidency would better address the impacts of oil development on North Dakotans.
Under a Clinton presidency, oil and gas is going to do just fine. They have in the past, and they will in the future. We'd hope for a much more balanced approach that the needs and concerns and the livelihoods of people who live near fossil fuel extraction are considered a whole lot more than they have been in the last 10 years.
But oil, gas, and coal aren't the only energy sources at stake in this election. Wind has boomed in North Dakota over the past decade. It now makes up 18% of the state's electricity mix. The outcome of this presidential election could further push fossil fuel states like this one toward renewables. Clinton has already proposed investing more in renewable energy. Morrison says that could help with the state's energy independence.
Wind and solar could be really beneficial for people who live in rural areas, and they could have their own sources of energy.
Under Trump, existing subsidies for renewables would likely go away. Kramer has been advising Trump on energy. He says those incentives would be replaced by a tax code that rewards energy made in the United States, whether that's wind turbines manufactured here or coal burned at the country's power plants.
It's not about picking the winners and losers. It's about setting the table so that all American energy can be successful, if it should be successful, and letting the markets determine that.
But government is always picking winners and losers. The fossil fuel industry has enjoyed its own subsidies for decades. That's why the stakes in this election couldn't be higher for the energy industry and for the states that depend on it. For Inside Energy, I'm Amy Sisk.